Welcome to the Anima Q&A meeting. My name is Agnieszka Zając, and I'm happy to introduce director of film Bite of Bone, Honami Yano. Hello, Honami.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you today?
Yes, I'm good. Now in Japan is evening.
Oh, yeah, and now it's morning in Krakow. Okay, so let's start with very first question. Why did you choose this form and technique? Does the form refer also to your previous works, or is it the first time you create a film in that way?
This was my first attempt at this technique. When I first wrote the script, I thought of the girl's narration as the narrator, so I first wanted to express the emotion through movement. In other words, I wanted to express the movement of being scared through camera work and movement rather than, for example, being scared through dialogue. As for my approach as a method, I was initially thinking of tearing up the paper and pasting it on. However, I was experimenting. I realized that it was difficult to control the paper and that I would lose the detailed expression. So instead of it, I tried tracing dots with colored markers. It was much faster and more beautiful. And when I overlap the papers, it looks very beautiful. So I did not composite the background, but actually layered the papers and shooting it under the light. However, when I draw with pointillism, it was difficult to adjust the light. And sometimes it was too stimulating for my eyes. So to reduce the light, I also put colors on the back of the paper. Dotting took a long time, but it was an interesting technique and it was very appropriate for this story.
Thank you, Hanami. Is this a personal story? It seems to be.
Yes, this is my personal story. At my father's funeral, my uncle actually bit the bone. I was very shocked as a child, and he told me to bite the bone too, but I couldn't. Also, I couldn't forget it for a long time. As for the powder cake, it is actually in the mountain behind my family house on the island I grew up. I refer to it as a bomb stage to keep it simple, just like a father would say when explaining it to his kids. I have always felt guilty about the existence and wondered why we have it in the back hill instead of an air-raid shelter. This made me feel a little gloomy, like it was saying that I side with the oppressors who inflict violence on people.
Is this quite shocking motive of the title bone biting a typical thing? Does it appear often among older people? And in general, can you tell me more about a funeral ritual in Japan?
2 years ago, when I was planning to make this film, I did some research and found out that that is a custom in certain regions of Japan. Until then, I thought it was personal experience. In the middle of making this film, Koji Yamamura, the producer of the film, told me that there was a scene of bone biting in the Japanese film Twilight Samurai, directed by Yoji Yamada, so I checked it out. Min Tanaka, the actor and dancer who played the antagonist of the samurai, bite his daughter's bone. This is not main theme of this film, but I think in Japan there are certain customs like this. I didn't think it's simply for the elderly. Personally, I think it's also an act to get over the grief or to face it. And I couldn't do it myself. And I thought this led me to create the film. Also, it is a common custom in Japan, and it is not a common custom in Japan. And I think there are more people who don't know about this.
Well, such an interesting story about behind your animation. But I'm thinking, is the motive of the pine tree also important? Can you elaborate on that?
Thank you for interest in the pine tree. This is actually something that my father loved, and also it is a more important motif in my film. First, the girl and her sister are left behind when their fathers go to get the pine tree. Then they have to face their fears alone. And the next day, instead of new pine tree in the garden, the girls lose her hair. The pine tree is the dream his father is chasing.
You mentioned about Koji Yamamura. He produced your film, and I'm wondering, did he have influence on your conception?
Yes, Koji Yamamura has always had a great influence on me. First of all, he is one of the great artists who taught me the fun of animation. And secondly, he is the person I respect even before I met him through his films. So it's hard to believe that I sometimes help director Koji Yamamura's film. I helped his film like with dreams into drawing and his new future film, Dozens of No's. That was a great learning experience. To begin with, his drawing are so beautiful, even it's rough drawing, and his work very fast. Every time I go to his studio, I always enjoy looking his many beautiful masterpieces. Since I was a student, I worked as a weekend storekeeper at his gallery he runs. I still do. In there was many artwork like by Fritz Perlin, Theodor Ushev, Andreas Gade, Yuri Neustein, Igor Kovalyov, George Schwitzgebel. Also large playing cards by Regina Pessoa, and pictures by many wonderful artists, and it is my favorite space. Director Yamamura is and also her partner Sanae believe me and support me more than I believe in myself. And I am always encouraged by that. We have many discussed for the film. In particular, we discuss in detail how to phrase the line, what to say out, and what not to say, and so on. We had a lot of fun talking about techniques and visuals as well. It was a truly enjoyable production process, and I learned a lot from them.
Yes, Koji Yamamura has his film in an anima competition too. So you are competitors this year, master and a student. Wonderful. Honami, could you tell me how long did the production last?
Yes, I started on the storyboard in about February 2019 and finished the film in March 2021. It took 2 whole years. The animation and the compositing were almost all completed in the first year. The rest of the time was spent entirely on coloring, dotting.
Did you know from the beginning how you want the film to look like, or has the conception been changing during the production process?
I knew the scenario and what I want to portray from the beginning. However, the method of expression and the detail structure changing as I created it. In particular, there were a lot of coincidence and things that turned out this way. So I did not have the comprehension in mind from the beginning at all. I enjoy the process as well.
Thank you very much, Honami, for being with us. I'm sending you my best wishes from Krakow, and hopefully we're gonna see in the future here in Krakow. Bye.
Yes. Thank you very much.